The veins that drain the lateral and superior surfaces of the brain can be divided into two groups. 1. Veins that drain into the superior sagittal sinus or transverse sinus, and 2. Veins that drain into the superficial sylvian vein. First group. Frontal lobe is drained by the frontopolar vein, the anterior, middle, and posterior frontal veins, as well as the precentral vein and, partly, the central vein. All of these veins drain into the superior sagittal sinus. Parietal lobe is drained partly by the postcentral vein and by the anterior and posterior parietal veins, all of which also drain into the superior sagittal sinus. Occipital lobe is drained by the occipital vein, which drains into the superior sagittal sinus, the confluence of sinuses, the vein of Labb, or less commonly the transverse sinus. The occipital lobe can also be partly drained by the vein of Labb. Temporal lobe is drained partly by the vein of Labb, and also by the posterior, middle, and anterior temporal veins, as well as the temporoplar veins, all of which drain mostly into the transverse sinus. Second group. The second group consists of veins that drain into the superficial sylvian vein, including the frontosylvian, parietosylvian, and temporosylvian veins, which drain their corresponding areas before emptying into the superficial sylvian vein. Arteries. Most of the lateral and superior surfaces of the brain are supplied by branches of the middle cerebral artery, MCA, which spread from the sylvian fissure to their corresponding cortical areas. Frontal lobe is supplied by the orbitofrontal, prefrontal, and precentral branches of the MCA, and partly by the central branch. Parietal lobe is supplied partly by the central branch and by the anterior and posterior parietal branches, as well as the angular branch. Occipital lobe is supplied partly by the angular and temporoccipital branches. Temporal lobe is supplied partly by the temporoccipital branch, and also by the posterior, middle, and anterior temporal branches, as well as the temporoplar branch. Note that all of these are branches of the MCA, and each cortical area is usually supplied by one branch, sometimes by two, and very rarely by three, but most often each area is supplied by a single branch.